Thank you, Your Honor.
You may call your next witness.
Judge, the defense would call Dr. Deanna Dwenger. I'm going to step out in the hall and grab her really quick.
Witness sworn.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. What's your name?
Deanna Dwenger.
And Dr. Deanna Dwenger, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is it okay if I just call you doctor?
That's fine.
Okay, doctor. Would you tell the jury what your levels of education are?
Sure. I have my doctorate in clinical psychology. I'm a psychologist by training and I am currently the executive director of behavioral health, so I...
Okay. And how long have you been the director of behavioral health at the Department of Correction?
Since January of 21.
Okay. And were you maybe I didn't fear this. Were you a doctor before that?
Yes. I got my doctorate in 2013.
Okay. A doctor of psychology, is that right?
Correct.
All right. And from where did you get that degree?
The Chicago School of Professional Psychology.
Okay. And so you currently work for the Indiana Department of Corrections?
Correct.
Okay. In terms of the mental health side of the Department of Corrections, can you explain to the jury this two-tiered structure that the DOC has so they can understand? Give them a little context in terms of how you operate?
Two-tiered meaning like the vendor.
Yes.
And us? Okay. So in Indiana, we privatize the medical services that are provided, so I work for the state, but I am just one of 3 behavioral health staff, and then we contract with a vendor. The current vendor's name is Centurion, and they actually are who are paid to employ all of the psychologists.
Okay. So are you familiar with Mr. Allen, just generally?
Generally.
And you know who Richard Allen, right?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with the fact that he was housed in the DOC starting in November of 2022?
Yes.
Up until just recently, right?
Yes.
Last couple months or so, right?
Yes.
And so during the time he was housed in the DOC, would you have had a responsibility for him in terms of his care, not necessarily directly, but in the broader sense?
Yes. I oversaw the contract that was providing his care.
Okay. We heard from Dr. Walla a few days ago. I've lost track of time, but it was a few days ago. Did she work for Centurion?
Correct, yes.
The third-party vendor?
Yes.
And is it accurate that you, basically, then oversaw her and the things that she would be doing on a clinical basis?
She.
On behalf of the DOC?
Yeah, she has her own reporting structure, so Dr. Carey's is her boss, and Dr. Carey's and I work hand in hand. So if I were to ever have a concern, I could go to Dr. Carey's, and she was their clinical supervisor. But when it comes to if we discussed any kind of particular clinical care or if we had a multidisciplinary team, yes, I would participate in that as the state.
Okay. And do you recall specifically that Mr. Allen was housed at the WCU unit up in Westville?
Yes.
And just generally speaking, I'm not sure how everybody's geographically oriented here, but is Westville about 100 miles north of here roughly?
Yes.
And it's up in the northwest quadrant of the state, if you will, up near Valpo, right?
Correct.
Okay. And at some point, then, was Mr. Allen transferred down to Wabash Valley?
Correct.
And Wabash Valley, is it accurate that that's down in the Carlisle area?
Yes.
A couple 100 miles south of here?
Yes, southwest.
Down in the southwest quadrant of the state, right?
Correct.
Which would be down towards Evansville, in that direction?
Yeah. It's about an hour south of Terre Haute.
Okay. And during the time that he was incarcerated at Westville and in Wabash Valley, was he incarcerated in similar units? Is that a fair way of putting it?
Yes.
The WCU or the solitary unit up in Westville and the same down in Wabash Valley?
Correct, yes.
And have you ever met Richard Allen?
I have not.
Did you ever play a role in where Mr. Allen was being detained, in what facility he was being held?
I was not.
Do you know who was making those decisions?
I do not.
Did you play any role in the decision to move Mr. Allen from Westville 3 hours south down to Carlisle?
I did not.
Which is Wabash Valley, right?
Yes.
Do you know who made that decision?
I do not.
All right. Are there designated mental health facilities in the DOC?
Yes. We have 3 men and 1 female facility.
Tell the jury where those facilities are.
So our most acute facility is in Newcastle. It's called Newcastle Psychiatric. So if you see or hear NCP, and then we have 2 step-down units from that. One is at Pendleton Correctional Facility. It's called IRT, and we have one at Wabash Valley called the SNU, Special Needs Unit. So those are our 3 men.
And so, obviously, Mr. Allen was never at Newcastle, the acute unit, or at Pendleton in that unit, right?
He was not.
But you mentioned Wabash Valley again. Was Mr. Allen housed in the mental health unit of Wabash Valley?
He was not.
Okay. He was held in the solitary confinement unit 2 different places.
Correct.
Locations? All right. Getting back to Dr. Walla. Was there a point in time when Dr. Walla informed you that she had a personal interest in Mr. Allen's case?
Yes.
And was that before or after she was assigned to him?
After.
And did you know that she was spending many hours taking the time to listen and participate in social media activity, yes, involving this case? Did you have any idea of the scope of what she was doing?
So she first contacted me early 2022. She was advocating for Mr. Allen to have a visit with his wife. She thought that it would be good for his mental health, so she had reached out to me to see if that was possible. At that point,
Okay, you said that she first contacted you in early 2022. Do you actually mean in 2023?
23, yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
so this would have been after he was placed in Westville and she was treating him?
Correct.
Consistent with what you said earlier?
Correct.
And did you, at some point, become aware that she actually took the time to visit the crime scene in this case?
Yes, I was aware that she did that.
Do you think, as a treating psychologist, that's a bit unusual?
I think she did that prior to knowing that she would ever encounter someone related to the case. Much like other people in the DOC world, I think she's interested in true crime.
All right, she lived in the Chicago area, didn't she?
Correct.
And so she, at some point, came down here to, at some point, visit the crime scene, right?
Correct.
Did you tell me that you thought it was unusual, though, for a psychologist to be in that position?
I think it's unusual to have been to a crime scene of a place of someone that you work with. However, she had done that prior to Mr. Allen.
But did she?
Judge, may I request a sidebar? Yes.
Sidebar conference conducted.
I would like to make a request that Mr. Rossi be specific about what he's referring to as crime scene, because we have a large area here. I don't want to interrupt his direct, but he's characterizing something as the crime scene to Dr. Dwenger without specificity, and so I think there's a lack of understanding about the inaudible of what she just did and what's actually a crime scene. I can do that on CrossFit.
Well, I mean,
It's a concern.
I agree. The crime scene here is everything from the Monon High Bridge to the river bottom.
And I disagree.
Because, that's where they there.
But I mean.
Yeah.
The jury doesn't consider it as the crime scene.
That's what they tell me, so I'll educate her.
Well.
It's not that big of not a big deal.
Sidebar conference concluded.
You may proceed.
Thank you. We were having a technical discussion about the phrase crime scene, okay? Did Ms. Walla, Dr. Walla, tell you that she had visited the Monon High Bridge at some point?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you. Do you know Dr. Martin?
Yes.
Okay, and just tell the jury what relevance or what connection Dr. Martin has or had with Mr. Allen.
Dr. Martin is a psychiatrist. So psychology STS, think more therapy, diagnosing, psychiatrists, more symptom management, prescribing medication. So Dr. Martin is a psychiatrist with the IDOC and was covering Westville at the time that Mr. Allen was there, so would have seen him and treated him.
So if there were orders to administer, let's say for example, Haldol shots, would Dr. Martin most likely have been a part of that process?
Absolutely.
Okay, how long had Dr. Martin worked for the DOC, do you now? Up until let's say 2022, when Mr. Allen came.
A couple years.
Have you ever met him?
Once, I think.
All right, does he still work for the DOC?
He does not.
Okay, and let's talk about Mr. Allen's classification. When he showed up at the DOC, is it accurate that he was classified as, from an administrative standpoint, as a safekeeper?
Yes.
Is that a term of art in your business?
Yes.
Okay, is that an administrative classification?
I don't know if it's administrative. It's a classification that I've heard and we receive those kind of patients.
Okay, was he assessed down at RDC, reception and diagnostic in Indy, before he showed up at Westville?
Yes. I believe he was there very, very briefly.
I think the testimony earlier might have been maybe a day or so.
Yeah, sounds right.
Does that sound about right? And did he have a D code, or was he identified as a D code at the time he was assessed?
Yes.
And we went through this a little bit earlier, but would you just tell the...
Of course. A code, you're not on the mental health roster, you can still receive services, but you don't have an active treatment plan. B codes are those who are on medication that they might be on forever, like anti-anxiety, anti-depressant kind of medication. A C code is someone who may have a mental health diagnosis but is going to get treatment in a group setting, so in a group of their peers, think anger management, anxiety groups, depression groups, that kind of thing. D codes are those who we think would benefit more from individual therapy with a therapist. And then E codes are our mental health units.
Okay, so I think we talked about this before, but is it kind of least severe to most severe?
Yes.
And E codes are kind of their own.
The F codes are kind of their own designation, yeah.
All right, and is it rare for you, as a psychologist at the DOC, is it rare for the staff or the Centurion staff to treat somebody that doesn't have a criminal history? Is that kind of unusual?
We have safekeepers regularly. Whether they have previous criminal history or not, I'm not sure, but I think last time I heard, we had 9 safekeepers in DOC.
Okay, and is it accurate that a lot of those safekeepers, most of them are there for competency restoration?
No, cause I think safekeeping is, they come to us because the jail can't manage them. A lot of them, maybe half of them, come to Newcastle Psychiatric.
So a lot of those safekeepers are those people in that classification?
That or what classification?
In that Newcastle situation where you're doing restoration?
I'm not doing restoration.
Not you, I understand.
But there are, yes, sometimes there are complicating factors that they're mentally ill.
Alright, had you ever worked with a safekeeper before in the WCU?
I don't know if there's been safekeepers at WCU.
Have you ever worked with one?
I have not, no.
Or any of your team that you're aware of?
I don't know.
Do you know why he was placed at the WCU?
I do not.
And so with regard to his detention circumstances, do you believe that Rick Allen was regularly being threatened by other offenders on his unit?
I had heard that, yes.
And are you aware that that there was an in-cell video in his?
That he was on camera?
Yes.
Yes.
At all times?
Yes.
And are you aware that there's also, I guess you could call it movement video or camcorder video when he was moved around in the facility?
Yes.
And was there a time when you had concerns about the impact of that video on his mental health?
Yes.
Okay. And did you recommend at one point that those cameras be removed so that he could have some sense of privacy?
I did.
And was that a decision you made because you thought it was better for his mental health?
Yeah. We were concerned about his depression at the time and thinking just psychologically what that would be like to be monitored at all times. Thought maybe that would be something that could alleviate some of his mental health symptoms.
And did that ever happen?
Not to my knowledge.
Alright. Did you ever watch any videos of him being shackled and moved around the facility, those movement videos we talked about?
I did not.
What about the in-cell video? Did you ever watch any of that?
I did not.
Okay, let's talk about solitary confinement, okay?
Okay.
Is that kind of a phrase of art in your business, if you will?
Art?
Or segregation?
We call it restrictive housing, yeah.
Is it commonly understood in the field of psychology that confining someone in a solitary state can be damaging to their brain?
Yes.
And do you generally agree, kind of on a common sense level, that the longer someone is held in segregation or solitary confinement, the more damage that can occur?
There's really a lot of mixed research on confinement. There's some research that says being in restrictive housing is no more damaging than just being in prison in and of itself is damaging. There's also research that, yeah, being isolated, social isolation, the lack of stimuli, sensory deprivation, that's the word I'm looking for, is also harmful to mental health. I don't know that I've read any research myself about the longevity of that, if it gets worse.
Well, would it be unreasonable to think that the longer you're in that situation, the more it might
No.
be harmful? Does the DOC have some fairly strict policies as it relates?
Yes.
And just in terms of, without getting into all the weeds on this, those policies basically recognize a 30-day period. Is there a 30-day rule maybe, is a better way to put it?
When it comes to mental health. So there's kind of residential restrictive housing policies. There's short-term restrictive housing, long-term restrictive housing. The 30-day stipulation is something that we have in my mental health policies as it relates to people who have serious mental illness.
Okay, so is it accurate to say that the maximum period of solitary confinement should be no more than 30 days, unless there are some exceptional circumstances?
If they are seriously mentally ill, yes.
Okay, and do you agree that Mr. Allen fell within that class S of offenders?
I do.
And there's no doubt about that, is there?
No.
Okay, and do you agree that the policy was generally created to avoid the long-term effects of solitary confinement on that offender's brain, whoever that offender is?
Yes.
That's what drives the policy, right?
Yes.
But Mr. Allen was designated as a safekeeper, is that accurate?
Correct.
And so, because of his designation, does the DOC then kind of exempt him from that policy that we just referenced, the 30-day rule, if you will?
To be honest, I wasn't sure. We had discussed that when his mental health started to decompensate, whether or not that would apply at the time and what if it did moving forward.
Okay, is it accurate to say that someone being designated as a safekeeper doesn't necessarily mean that they wouldn't be harmed by solitary confinement, right?
Correct.
It's still a brain problem?
Yes.
It's basically a business designation?
A business designation?
Well, being a safekeeper again is a...
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about the serious mental illness. You said that he identified as someone who was seriously mentally ill.
Yes.
And did he also, at one point, meet the criteria for being gravely disabled?
Yes.
And do you agree that the overriding goal, on the behavioral health side of the DOC, is to prevent harm?
Yeah.
On offenders?
Yes.
From a mental health standpoint?
Yes.
Does the segregation of offenders with serious mental illness like Mr. Allen tend to make their symptoms worse?
Repeat that question.
Does the segregation of individuals like Mr. Allen in solitary confinement tend to make?
Objection, Judge. I know it. He's leading the witness, and this is direct.
Sustained.
If Mr. Allen, well, strike that. Is it possible that someone's long-term segregation could lead to additional harm to their brain?
Yes.
And is there a difference between mental health monitoring and mental health treatment?
Yes.
Did we talk about that before?
Yes.
And is mental health? Tell the jury what the difference is.
When I think of mental health monitoring, that is primarily in restrictive housing. Potentially if they're in restrictive housing too, maybe we know that they came to us with an anxiety disorder. We want to make sure that they don't deteriorate, so it's kind of just a check-in, a mental status exam, if you will, are they eating? Are they showering? Are they taking care of themselves?
So is it an accurate statement to say that in places like the WCU that basically there's more assessing going on than there is really therapeutic treatment? I'm sorry, I lost my...
In our restrictive housing, unfortunately there is more monitoring because of just the physical plant. It's harder to get them out regularly with treatment, but it is both. When they are in restrictive housing, they are required to have both monitoring and out-of-cell therapeutic
Okay.
sessions.
So you acknowledge that the environment, the therapeutic environment, that's being offered up isn't really therapeutic, is it?
It's not ideal.
It's not consistent with what a normal human would get in a normal therapeutic setting, right?
Correct.
And in fact, they're building a new prison right now, right?
They are.
I think you told me you were excited about that, generally.
I'm very excited.
And is that because you're hoping that the conditions will be?
Objection, Judge. This is not relevant to Mr. Allen.
Well, I think it has the tendency to prove that the...
May I ask some preliminary questions?
May I finish?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Finish. Go ahead and finish so that she can then ask her preliminary questions.
I think it has a tendency to prove that the conditions, compare and contrast the conditions.
Okay.
He was in.
Preliminary questions.
Dr. Dwenger.
Yes.
With regard to Mr. Allen, were you aware of the frequency of his therapeutic visits?
When he was on suicide watch, he should be visited every day.
And so was he on suicide watch from the time he entered WCU until Dr. Walla, well, let's just say until August of 2023?
Yes.
Was he on suicide watch?
Yes.
So he was getting daily visits from Dr. Walla then?
Yes.
Thank you. My objection is that he was receiving.
Judge, I think that's an issue of the weight of the evidence.
Well, let's limit it to this defendant.
You were, ultimately, on the MDT team that, essentially, met from time to time to discuss Mr. Allen's circumstances, right?
Yes.
So you were is it accurate to say that you were, in some ways, directly responsible for his care?
I didn't provide any clinical care, but I did offer like a sounding board or asking questions. Have you thought about this? Have we assessed this? Has he had a medical consult? As kind of a supervisory role.
Do you agree that the segregation of mentally ill prisoners is toxic to their welfare?
Yes. I don't love restrictive housing.
And that would apply in Mr. Allen's circumstance?
Yes.
Does the DOC have a policy that reflects that inmates with serious mental illness would be placed in Newcastle, Wabash Valley, or Pendleton?
We have a policy on, if someone is in restrictive housing, they are designated as SMI, which is serious mental illness, then there are things that...
And did any of those things ever happen to Mr. Allen?
No.
Has the DOC been involved in previous lawsuits regarding the excessive detention of inmates?
Objection, Judge. May we have a sidebar?
Yes.
Sidebar conference conducted.
Judge, I'm going to object to reference to the EPUS. There's been reference to the ADA with Dr. Walla, and that didn't pertain to Mr. Allen by definition. And we could go really far into this before we ever get to that, since we've been down this road before. And so I think it should be excluded, as EPUS doesn't apply to Mr. Allen.
I wasn't going to mention EPUS. I haven't mentioned EPUS.
You just...
My intention is to...
Sorry.
My intention is to discuss with her the court's order from Federal District Court that I have put into evidence at other hearings, which is where all these standards that we've talked about arose from. And I think it has it's relevant because it has a tendency got proof that the...
Judge.
And if the court doesn't want to admit that, I'll make an offer to prove.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I will sustain the objection. If you want to make an offer to prove, you may, but you've made some prior references.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I just want to make sure.
You have preserved the record in this case.
Very good.
Sidebar conference concluded.
I'll sustain your objection, Ms. Diener.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Ms. Diener.
Thank you, Judge. Dr. Dwenger, when Mr. Allen came into the DOC, are you familiar with the assessment that was performed at RDC?
Yes, I've reviewed his intake.
And on intake, Was he, by definition, seriously mentally ill?
No. He was not until he had gotten to Westville and started to decompensate.
Okay. And were you involved with any MDTs, or were there any MDTs for Mr. Allen from the time that he entered WCU until when you say he began to decompensate?
The first contact I got about Mr. Allen was in April of 23, and that was from Dr. Walla, advocating for the visit. She told me a little bit about him. I think at that point is when I went in and reviewed his intake, and then shortly after that is when the multidisciplinary team started, so April.
So if Mr. Allen came into RDC with prior diagnosis or treatment for depression and anxiety, would that have appeared in the assessment that you reviewed?
Yes.
And so on that basis, he was not seriously mentally ill?
No.
In April of 2023, who contacted you?
It started with Dr. Walla contacting me.
And what was her concern?
That she thought that a visit with his wife would be good for his mental health.
And so she was advocating for that?
Yes.
Did, at some point, it develop into these multidisciplinary team meetings?
Yes. Dr. Walla, she was deciding, in talking to myself and Dr. Carey's, which, like I said, was her supervisor. The three of us were talking and...
Okay. And so, in layman terms, feigning means what?
Faking.
Okay. Nicer clinical term?
Yes.
Okay. And so was the terminology grave disability used or applicable at that particular time?
Yes, at some point, I don't know in the timeline of events, but when we asked psychiatry to see him and we had it was AC, it was that first MDT, because I told psychiatry to also assess if he met criteria for an involuntary medication at that point. He wasn't sleeping and his symptoms were getting worse, and, knowing that no sleep, on top of already have some mental health, it was unlikely that he was gonna magically get any better, so we started talking very quickly about involuntary medication, because he was gravely disabled.
If I told you that the first document regarding an MDT was April 13th of?
That sounds right.
And what does grave disability mean in your terms?
Essentially, you no longer are taking care of yourself, so you're not showering, you're not eating, what we call ADLs are suffering, so maybe you're not working, you've kind of deteriorated in the sense of being able to care for yourself.
Okay. And so at that point then, if Dr. Walla was concerned about feigning, how did the MDT team approach the concern about faking behavior versus something that needed treatment?
So at that point, the symptoms were severe enough, whether he was faking them or feigning them or they were genuine it was unlikely to stop, given that now he was not eating, not sleeping, right? Those things that keep your body healthy and your mind healthy, he had stopped doing those. So whether he had chosen not to sleep or chosen not to eat, those behaviors were going to impact his mental health. So at that point, we needed to intervene, because we knew that it would not get better on its own.
Okay. And you're not a professional that would prescribe medicine, is that correct?
Correct.
But do you have personal knowledge of the use of Haldol with someone who might not be taking care of their ADLs?
Yes. My first 4 years of my career was at Newcastle Psychiatric, the most acute care facility.
And that was actually a mental health unit?
Yes.
Okay. And so, what was your position in that context?
I was the lead psychologist.
So what effect does Haldol have on a person who's experiencing lack of attention to their ADLs?
Again, not a psychiatrist, I am a psychologist, but Haldol is used very frequently with people who have psychosis and helps with the symptoms of psychosis, and grave disability is one of the symptoms of psychosis. So it's not necessarily targeting grave disability, but, for instance, if you are psychotic and you think, I've had patients who can't take a shower because they have these persecutory beliefs that the DOC is gonna send poison through the shower and, if they shower, they'll die. So the goal is the Haldol will target that symptom, that persecutory symptom that they are going to be harmed if they shower, therefore resulting in them improving their ADLs. Does that make sense?
Would it also help them sleep?
In some cases, depending on if it's, in some cases.
Okay. Now, in this consideration of how to help Mr. Allen with his mental health symptoms, you said you knew that he was a safekeeper, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree that the primary goal was to keep him safe?
Yes.
And so did that theme take precedence with regard to making sure he was in a safe environment for himself?
Yes.
Were you still proving him treatment?
Yes.
And was that treatment able to be provided at WCU?
Yes.
And would that be the reason he was never moved?
Yes.
No other questions.
I object. She testified earlier that she doesn't know why he was moved.
Sustained.
And that was a leading question.
It's cross.
Leading is allowed on cross.
Thank you.
But I sustained your objection.
No other questions.
Mr. Rossi.
Oh, thank you. Ms. Deanna just asked you when Richard Allen was classified, or when his circumstances would have classified him as seriously mentally ill. Do you generally recall that?
Yes.
And I think you said basically April of 2023.
Yes.
Okay, there are, again, this serious mentally ill, SMI, designation is one of art in your business, right?
Yes.
It has its own separate definition?
Yes.
Would you agree that that definition stems from litigation from back in 2012?
Yes.
Objection, Judge. We already discussed this.
Sustained.
I think may we have a sidebar?
Sidebar conference conducted.
Sorry. I just realized when I came down here, I didn't turn that on.
Oh, so she has opened the door, because the court order identifies serious mental illness as including. SMI includes someone with major depressive disorder. That was also adopted by the EPA's agreement, and it was also adopted by the DOC as part of their policy, which she told me in her deposition. At her deposition, she told me all three of these things, and so all I'm trying to do is identify for the jury or educate the jury that he had major depressive disorder. They've already heard that.
They've heard that.
And it's part of the definition, and it has been.
And they've heard that.
Or.
And actually, Judge.
No, but I'm saying.
The DOC policy.
When he hit the doorstep, when he walked in there. She's saying it started in April, when he started to decompensate. That's what.
The grave disability started.
Started, not the SMI. She said he was SMI when he entered.
Grave disability, that's what she just testified to.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and he was by definition.
Was not.
No.
She said he was not.
I'm saying that he was. I agree. I'm impeaching her with her own.
No.
Information.
No.
This is not her information.
It's not.
And if you
How is it that I cannot hold her to the standard of her own policy?
ask her whether SMI applies, I'm gonna give you that definition, and whether it applied to him, she would say no.
But I'm saying that her policy says that it does, that major depressive.
The policy says.
I've sustained it.
Well, but I have the right to ask her those questions if she.
No, you don't.
The policy inaudible, her position.
We've already had this conversation, we've already had this discussion. You've made your record, it's been preserved if Mr. Allen is convicted. The higher courts of records will tell me if I made a mistake or not, but I am sustaining the objection.
So am I not permitted to ask her at all about what the policy says now, even if I don't ask her about the court order?
You've asked her what it is, and she's testified what it is. We're not getting into the lawsuit, we're not getting into EPAs.
I didn't ask her. I didn't. With respect, I did not ask her if Rick Allen met the definition of SMI under the policy.
No, you haven't, Mr. Rossi, and you may ask her that, but you're not getting into the reasons for the policy. Any lawsuit that led to the policy against the Department of Correction that had already been resolved, that policy had already been resolved before Mr. Allen.
I think you're handcuffing me, with all due respect.
I appreciate that and.
With information that she has already indicated in her deposition drove their policy. She even told me in her deposition that she created the policy.
You've made your record.
She wrote policy, but not the current policy.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. I asked her.
Sidebar conference concluded.
All right. Your objection is sustained, Ms. Deanna.
Was the disorder of major depressive disorder, strike that, need to be more articulate. Is major depressive disorder part of the definition of SMI?
No.
Okay. Was it ever in the past?
No.
In any literature that you've seen associated with your employment?
Objection, Judge. Number 1, it's not relevant unless it pertains to Mr. Allen in a DOC setting, and number 2, it's asked and answered.
Sustained.
I have nothing further.
Ms. Deanna.
No questions, Judge.
Does anybody on the jury have any questions for Dr.
Sidebar conference conducted.
Does the DOC ever place safekeepers in general population?
I'm okay with that.
Could it be possible Mr. Allen is faking his symptoms, so he wouldn't be moved to the populated areas because of his fear of being harmed?
Good question.
You stated that you heard, in quotes, heard about Mr. Allen being threatened by other inmates. Did you ever actually hear the threats with your own ears?
Fine.
Okay.
Do you want me to say that first part, or just ask the question, did you ever actually?
Just the second part, yeah.
When faking or not faking mental health, could a person slip intrudes into a confession?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
When faking or not faking mental health, could a person slip intrudes in a confession?
I think it's a fair question.
It's kind of a weird question, but.
It is a weird question.
Yeah.
The way it's worded is a little weird.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Huh?
I don't think it's relevant.
I'm okay with it, so.
It is kind of an oddly worded question. If she doesn't understand it, I won't be able to explain it to her.
Yeah.
And I'll just be, I don't know. What would the typical process for safekeepers that have severe mental illness on suicide watch be?
What was the beginning of that?
What would the typical process for safekeepers that have severe mental illness on suicide watch be?
Oh, okay. That's a good question.
Would that be different than a traditional safekeeper who has severe mental illness that isn't suicidal?
Yes.
So these are kind of building on each other.
Yeah.
What is the primary obligation of DOC to a safekeeper on suicide watch with a severe mental illness?
These are good questions.
All right. Deanna Dwenger.
They are good.
Yeah.
They're compound.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sidebar conference concluded.
Doctor, if you know, does the DOC ever place safekeepers in general population?
Yes, they do.
Any follow-up, Mr. Rozzi?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Diener. Deanna Dwenger.
If you know, what prevented Mr. Allen, as a safekeeper, from being put in general population?
Judge, I'm going to object at this point, because she testified she didn't have anything to do with the decisions on his placement.
Yeah, I would sustain that. Anything else, Ms. Diener?
No. Deanna Dwenger. Deanna Dwenger.
Could it be possible that Mr. Allen was faking his symptoms, so he wouldn't be moved to populated areas because of his fear of being harmed?
Read it one more time.
Could it be possible that Mr. Allen was faking symptoms, so he wouldn't be moved to populated areas because of his fear of being harmed?
It is possible, I have seen that, but for me to speculate on what was going on or why he would have, I don't have any idea why he would have.
Mr. Rozzi. Deanna Dwenger.
If Dr. Walla testified that she didn't have an opinion or didn't know, would you defer to her?
Yes.
Oh, no further questions, sorry.
Ms. Diener.
No other questions. Deanna Dwenger.
Did you stated you heard Mr. Allen was being threatened by other inmates. Did you ever actually hear the threats with your own ears?
No. I have never even laid eyes on Mr. Allen until just today and did not go to Westville while he was there or Wabash Valley.
Mr. Rozzi. Deanna Dwenger.
No questions.
Ms. Diener.
No.
When faking or not faking mental health concerns, could a person slip in truths of a confession?
Do you mind reading it one more time?
Sure. When faking or feigning or not faking mental health, could a person slip in truths in a confession?
That's a really good question, whoever asked that. It's hard to tell, because I have seen it both ways, where someone gets psychotic and they confess to things that they really have done, but I've seen people get psychotic and confess to things that they have not done. If he was faking, 'cause it said something about if he was faking, do you mind reading it again? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. If he was faking mental health problems, could he slip in truths of a confession?
If he's faking mental health SYMPTOMs, could he slip in truths of a confession? Yes, yes.
Mr. Rozzi.
No questions.
Ms. Diener. Deanna Dwenger.
If a person makes a statement during a period of mental health symptoms, what would you look for in that statement to indicate whether it was generated by a mental health issue or by reality? Deanna Dwenger.
The type of conversation is different. A brief psychotic episode is complicated and it's one of the lesser researched diagnoses, so that complicates the factor, but when speaking with someone during a psychotic episode, they're detached from reality, so they're not linear, they're not goal-directed. It's kind of like, I had a psychologist friend once tell me that one of the best ways to know if someone is feigning or not is to listen to your body language as a psychologist. So if someone is saying, oh, yeah, I'm psychotic and I hear things and I see things, and you're just kind of like nodding along and it's just like a story, that, most likely, they are feigning. If, however, someone is saying, I hear things and they tell me to go to the grocery store. Then I went to the grocery store and I got a Reese's, and a person working there, she looked like my mom and she's so nice and you're kind of like, whoa, like, what? Like you're trying to follow, but it's kind of like all over the place. Those are the kind of things that I listen for. Is it related? Is the organization of what they're saying there or not? Is it goal-directed or not? Because when you're psychotic, you really lose the ability to be goal-directed in most cases. Does that answer the question? Does that make sense?
So if it's organized and it's goal-directed, would that also include if it can logically be followed?
Yes.
Okay, what about if it's chronological?
Yes. Another thing you'll see is it's related to what they're saying. The confession, for instance, would be related to the delusional content. So there's kind of themes in psychosis and delusions that you see. I think there's 5 major ones. There's persecutory, the CIA is following me. There's poison in Deanna Dwenger, the ceiling, they're poisoning my food. There's hypersexuality, everybody loves me, this grandiosity, I'm gonna have sex with everyone, I'm gonna have a million babies. There's hyperreligiosity, I'm Jesus, I'm God, he tells me what to do and I'm, his servant. Another one is jealousy and the other one is like command hallucinations, so the TV is talking to me. That news reporter who's reporting about the news is actually telling me specifically because he wants me to go out and save the world. So there's kind of these themes. So when someone is in a psychotic state, what they're talking about can be not psychotic, right? 'Cause you're not necessarily psychotic 24 hours a day, so you could be not psychotic and having a linear conversation, but if, all of a sudden, I start asking you about showers and that's related to that psychotic, it kind of like pings, right? And then they kind of lose association, and one of those 5 themes, the That's not the only possibility, those 5 themes, but those are like the major that I'm listening for. Is that conversation related in one of those like delusional disordered thinking?
So just to parse that out, because we went back and forth a little bit.
Sorry.
So the kind of statements that would be related to psychosis are those 5 areas where the statements by the person are related to these fears or concerns that are not logical.
The delusion disorder, so delusions are things that you think and like are not reality-based. So those 5 that I just said are kind of the most common delusions. And when speaking with someone and they're on those 5, it had something to do with that. Like, God told me to, or I'm Saint Michael and that's why I had to do it. Or everybody loves me and so I had to have 1,000 children. So I had to sleep with everybody. Like if it's related to those things, I am more likely to believe that it is rooted in psychosis versus if what the person is saying to me is logical and linear and I can follow it and it's goal-directed and it's chronological. I'm not likely to believe that that is rooted in psychosis.
Okay, thank you very much.
Judge, can I ask a follow-up question? I mean, she's pretty broad.
Sure.
Thank you. Deanna Dwenger. Is delirium one of the symptoms that you might see in a psychotic state?
Delirium is when you get psychotic because of a medical disease or a medical illness. So you see this in elderly people when they have a TBI and it's not treated. They actually show up to the hospital and they present as psychotic. We did have Mr. Allen assessed for delirium to make sure that there was no medical things going on.
When you mean assessed, just asking him questions, or?
Medical did an evaluation.
Oh, okay. And so you didn't observe Mr. Allen with regard to any of these things that you've talked about?
No.
So you would have to defer to Dr. Walla in terms of a conclusion about these things.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm speaking in
I have nothing further. Thank you for letting me.
generalities.
Nothing, Ms.
I have one. So when you say he was assessed for delirium, was that discussed in MDT?
Yes. So Ms. Bridegroom was the HSA, and we asked her to have medicals see Mr. Allen to make sure that there wasn't something medical causing his deterioration in functioning.
And was the outcome that he did not?
Correct.
Thank you.
Would the typical process for safekeepers that have severe mental illness on, what would the typical process for safekeepers that have severe mental illness on suicide watch be?
The same as a general, anyone else who had been post-adjudication.
Okay. Mr. Rossi.
No questions.
Ms. Diener.
No question.
What is the primary obligation of the Department of Correction to a safekeeper on suicide watch with severe mental illness?
The same as it would be to anyone else who is post-adjudication.
What? I didn't hear what you said at the end.
The same as what it would be anyone who I was treating post-adjudication, to keep them safe.
Is that post-adjudication, meaning people that are found guilty of crimes?
Correct.
Mr. Allen was not one of those people?
Right, but he'd be treated the same
Okay,
as anyone else.
I understand that. You're treating him just like everybody else that's in prison?
Correct.
All right, nothing further.
Ms. Diener.
No other questions.
All right. Thank you, doctor. You may step down.
Thank you.
Do you want to take a break? This might be a good opportunity for us to take our morning recess. While you're outside the courtroom, please keep your minds open. Please don't form any opinions or conclusions about anything. If you discuss the evidence, please only do that if all 15 of you are present in the jury room at the same time, and please don't deliberate. Gentlemen.
All rise.
Jury out at 10:22 a.m.
You may be seated. Let's go ahead and take 15 minutes. Gentlemen, you can take Mr. Allen. Jody, you can go off the record.
Off record at 10:23 a.m. On record at 10:40 a.m.
Your Honor. We're back on the record. Could we have a sidebar? Sure. I'm sorry.
Sidebar conference conducted.
Mr. Irvin, from the U.S. Attorney's Office, just informed me that he's in the FBI's office. I need to immediately file a motion for, I won't immediately file, I will promptly file a motion for witness to appear remotely. The Indiana administrative rules allow for remote appearance with good cause shown. Special Agent Pohl is the supervising special agent in charge of election security in Texas. I'm anticipating his testimony will be very short, but necessary, and so I think good cause is shown. He's in Texas. They are trying to figure out what to do. I am fine. We would like for him to be able to appear remotely. It seems inefficient and impossible for him to be here in person for a short amount of time.
I think another concern that I just want to point out in his report, they weren't talking about the same day as the girls went missing. It's not clear. So we have concerns about him testifying about what Weber said the day the girls went missing. That's the first issue. The second issue is, are you set up to do remote?
I don't think I am.
I don't think you are, because we changed out. I don't know that. That would be a question for.
I would have to find out who. Okay.
We've never done remote testimony in here.
Okay. So even, is it physically you can't do it? That's sure. Can I, if I try to figure this out, is that something we can consider? Well, let's cross one bridge at a time. Let's figure out if we can. Sure. I think that. Sure. I think that conversation needs to be had, inaudible, get him here. Okay. So.
It sounds like they may have issue with him testifying, according to the AG.
They have not. I've been talking to them and they have not said a word about that to me. And maybe that's something we need to explore, because maybe we're getting mixed signals from.
I just want to show, though, that we're not clear on what day, so I don't know if it's a concern of his. I don't know if they just don't want him to come up here inaudible.
No. Okay. So we're ready to go. Is your next witness out there? Yeah. Is there anything you want me to facilitate or you can do that, or? No, I'll. Okay. Find out.
Sidebar conference concluded.
All right. You may call your next witness.
Are we going to call the jury in?
Oh yeah, we need to have the jury. That would help. Sorry, you guys caught me off guard with the sidebar. Thank you. Jason, Jeremy, let's get our jury.
All rise.
Jury in at 10:46 a.m.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right. You may call your next witness, Mr. Rozzi.
The defense would call Max Baker, Your Honor.
Witness sworn.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge. What's your name?